Okay, so I think today, I'm pretty sure today's the 27th, which, I'm really hoping that something big happens. I swear to God. I know it sounds so horrible, but it's like, come on. The slow drip is just a killer. And there's a couple things I've seen I wanted to talk about. One of the things is, now they're saying that the hurricane is going to be category 4. It's going to hit there. Like I was saying, they're just like, oh, no, it's going to bypass. No, it's going to go. No, now it's just a category 4 and people are being evacuated. And I saw this guy, he was doing a video and he was showing, his place, and he's said that they evacuated and that he's ridden out the storms before, so he's going to stay and he's going to document it from in his house. So I start following him. It's like, let's see how this story, because he's supposed to be, like, I think right in the middle of it. I think he's in Tampa or something. And there's another girl who I follow. I mean, she's always talking spiritual stuff, but oh my gosh, she's just going through it. And she's in Tampa. And she has become homeless. Oh, she is so down on her luck. I feel so bad for her. She even, yesterday, I think it was, she said, I'm just going to go off of TikTok for a while. That she likes to spread the messages, but she's just so down on her luck. She just is having a hard time struggling. She just wants out. So many people just want out. They're just so fucking burnt out and so tired. And it is, every day is a challenge. So, yeah, I wish it would just hurry up and whatever's going to go down, have it go down. And what is one of the things, because I'm always saying, I think what's going to happen is some huge event is going to happen, something shocking that is going to wake a ton of people up because they haven't even started their healing, right? They are still locked in the matrix, if you will. I mean, we're all in a matrix, if you want to think of a controlled system, because we're all in this solar system. We're all part of this same galactic body. So, if you want to call it the matrix or whatever, as how people perceive, I look at it as it is kind of very similar to a video game. Like right now, like all the stuff you have to do to level up, to get to the next level. And all the leveling up has to do with conquering your demons, facing your skeletons, letting them out of the closet, dance around with them. It's facing you so you can release who you thought you were, because you have built a persona around the rules of this world. So it is a release of who you thought you were so that you can restructure yourself into who you know you are. Because so many people become something different than they thought they were, because it's all based on not approaching it in a healed perspective. You're just trying to please others. You're trying to be what people think or can accept. So you put all your energy and effort into becoming this acceptable person, and defining yourself by these rules, these limitations. And then when you awaken, you have to, rediscover yourself. And it's work. It's a lot of work. And a lot of people, when there's just so much trauma going on, they can't even, it's like, oh, how could I even think? How am I supposed to go sit and meditate and try and heal myself while I'm going through all of this drama? Well, that's the lessons right there, is to detach from all of the drama, to take it inside of you and work on you. That's why I push all the time to really try and understand this stuff is happening for you to do that. It's for you to work on you. And that is the whole purpose to why your soul is going through it. And it is an evolution, and it is a huge challenge. Just as, the hardest video game probably you can imagine playing. It's a hard challenge to complete a level and then move up to level to the next level. And each level is harder until you get to this level, I would say, you know, like where I'm at, like the healing part comes easy. This time and somebody else being in control and having to, you know, come into some sort of terms like everything you're putting in, consuming is toxic to you. And so there's other things, you know, the challenges that you have to come to. And so much of it is just finding peace of mind in your head. Like there's things that we are out of control. We have no control of them. We have to just, it is totally, to me, it is all about understanding that this is a movie. You're just here to learn. You are trying to expand yourself, and don't take it as serious. Like, well, I'm sitting here being poisoned, yeah, and I feel like shit. And yesterday I was sneezing and sneezing and sneezing and sneezing all day. And I feel like, you know, that's nonstop toxins that they are showering us with. Yeah, it's frustrating, but I can't sit here and just give it all my energy. Oh my God, I'm getting sick. Oh my God, I'm getting sick. Oh, I better go get a test. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to be sick. Oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. You know, people just start spinning out. And so to me, I just am like, okay, well, you know, I know it's the toxins. You know, I've increased my, the zeolite, the detox stuff. I increase that, and, you know, just do everything I can to take care of myself, you know, developing a routine kind of, you know, of taking care of yourself and focusing on yourself. And then it's just to come into kind of some sort of like I'm like all these different things. Okay, so somehow like a coming to the meeting of the minds or something of yourself, so that you can find a place to relax. Because you got to think like, okay, so think about Anne Frank. So should she have just given up on life? Should she have just blown it off? Should she have just hung herself up there? You know, sometimes you have to develop to what the circumstance is. You have to just kind of go with the flow, you know, and we are being poisoned. And this morning when I woke up and I was thinking about like all of these autistic kids, and I was, you know, because we're all an experiment. Like that has been so strong in my head since I was a kid. And I just didn't understand all the stuff. Like I thought it was, I didn't understand that we were literally having chemicals tested on us all the time. And so then you think about who was doing that kind of stuff, you know, and they Swaze sticks, you know, they got a name eventually, but these people have been doing this for a long time. And they are let's see, so I start getting to. So they have been doing this for a long time. And so it's kind of like we're in their world. Like you kind of like when you see it, they are kind of all around us. Just is like, it's kind of like the world is a giant Auschwitz. Seriously. I mean, that is, it's all of their like a playing ground, and their experiments and their tests and all the stuff they're doing is all the time. And, you know, if you were to watch a sci-fi horror movie of something like that going on, you would see people standing around. And like this video I saw yesterday of this autistic kid who was, you know, on the spectrum or whatever. He was very nonverbal. He was definitely in his own world and just sitting there like his eyes going back and forth and doing something repetitive with his hands. And I just thought, you know, it just came to my mind, tons of those people just everywhere, and it growing and growing and growing. And it is all the experiment, you know, of how the toxins affect them. Like all these people I know right now who have little babies, like I have 2 daughters about to have one, another one, you know, that's making these blankets and stuff. And I know they're going to go and get all of the little things. And it's just like, oh my God, they just start, you know, they start at birth. They give them their first one right then. Within 3 hours or something, they start getting their stuff. And you have all these kids and adults that are just, in their own little world, and who knows what that world really is, you know? But it is part of their experiment. That's the thing. And then, when you think about like down in the tunnels and stuff, they said that when they found people, they found people that were half put together and all that stuff, just like that. I mean, these horror stories have gone throughout our stories, Why'd that just all of a sudden go off? Then in New Orleans, that one lady who was doing that to her slaves, sewing them, different parts together and, take the arms off of a woman and sew them on a man. Weird shit. And so kind of like creating these mutants, like they're always thinking like they've got some God complex. Like I can do what God can do. It's like you can't do what nature can do. Nature is, I mean, my God, damn, the arrogance to think like, but they challenge themselves to create these new beings. And it's kind of crazy because when you think about all of these kids standing around and how the population grows and grows, and then the people just go about their life and don't question a thing, it's like pretty soon everybody's going to be like that. Like they are doing it on purpose and it's growing. Like I don't know. It is, people just have to wake up and question things. Like, I swear, forever, I don't even know when I started saying to people, kids are not supposed to be born with cancer. That is our environment. That's environmental. That is stuff that is passing through us into these kids. You're not born sick. And people, it's just like they're just willing to accept things. And I just saw this weird thing, and I've seen so many of these. Like, people are saying so much stuff like right now. And so one of the things, this one guy, he keeps talking about what happens when you die and stuff. And I hear people say stuff, and I always think, well, I mean, to me, they've got like some of it right, but some of it seems based on fear or a story or something. It doesn't seem like, that they've really gone out and done lots of research and tried to figure out, like, because to me, reading stuff with QHHT or any of the Dolores Cannon stuff, all the near-death experience books, all of the, and there's so many, and all of the reincarnation stuff, like you start going and trying to really study something and putting the pieces together. But anyways, it just doesn't seem like people do that. They just come up with this, kind of put together a story or something. But one of the things that is kind of, I don't know if it's kind of like nerve-wracking to me, because this was my big thing when I woke up in the very beginning. So like around 2016, I think. And I started finding out about the event, this solar flash, and started, I didn't know about that. And, my guides were coming in strong all the time. Like I felt like I was like opened up. Like there was all these different people talking to me and showing me things all the time. And then, so I knew it was all real. I knew they were all like alive, just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not alive. And so then, when they were telling me and showing me this stuff about the event and this giant solar flash and this thing that was going to happen where half the people were going to go. And so, and I knew it had something to do with spiritual stuff. Like I kept looking into it more and more and more. And to me, it sounded like, it sounded really similar to the rapture. Even in the book of 1, when you talk about it, the harvest. And so all of these people to leave, just suddenly, like what they've shown in the shows and stuff, just all of a sudden, there's 2 people standing there and one's suddenly gone. And then people are having these dreams of clothing falling out of the skies and stuff. So, this whole idea of people just suddenly being gone. And I was constantly trying to tell my family once I could see. And that's when everybody was like, oh my gosh, I'm so crazy. I'm so crazy. So they had already decided I was crazy before 2020. When I started, then I saw what was going on. Like I knew something was coming. I kept telling them something big was coming. A lot of people are going to be dying. There's going to be a lot of disasters. And then I kept calling it these come to Jesus moments. It's all this come to Jesus moments, that moment when you got nobody else, you got nothing else. And it's just, please, Jesus, why do you forsaken me? But, it's that internal, like, you got nothing else. What are you going to do? And so that I was already primed for being crazy at that point. So nobody was listening to me. I had already lost it. They'd already been saying I was crazy and blaming my brain injury and stuff like that. And all this concern. Oh, maybe I need to be in a home. Maybe I just need to be locked up. Can I even take care of myself? And that is why there's been all of that, me pushing myself to go on a road trip and go do things and, live on my own and drive and do all these things that people were telling me I wouldn't be able to do. So, it wasn't just, like my family decided. I mean, my lawyer was a big part. Now that I see how corrupt she was, then you can see, she wanting me to be in a home and telling them it's so manipulative. God, there's so many manipulative people out there. So always trying to get what's best for them. If you're trying to do something to somebody else because it's best for you, then you need to, to think about that. Nobody should be having to do anything that's best for you. Each person is an independent, sovereign being. They need to do what's best for them. And nobody should be interfering with that. I hope I'm promoting people to really stop listening to other people and go inside of yourself. And to not be in fear. Like, this is all happening for a reason. And there's nothing to fear. And so, now having these people, I just saw this one. I've seen a few, but that it is those of us who are awake are the ones who are going to suddenly disappear. We're going to be the ones who suddenly go. And that was kind of like my fear back in 2016 when I started trying to wake everybody up, because I wanted to still be with my family, I want my family to go to the next realm or whatever was going to, however it was going to go down. I wanted to be with them. And I see, other people feeling the same way. Well, what happens to my family? What happens to this? What happens to that? That's the question that we all get into. And then people are so confused about death even. Some of the comments, I'm like, well, will people even recognize us? Will people even know? Are people ever going to even know who we were? Do people just die and they forget who they are? And just, like the one guy who I said, who was just talking about what happens at death. And there's so much judgment. And then if you didn't do what was right, it isn't even you just go to hell. Now you just go into a thing that just consumes your consciousness and then spits out a new one. It's like, I don't believe there's all this judgment, like what people really are. To me, that is indoctrination, believing in all of this judgment. You're going to be judged. We're here to learn to stop judging ourselves and stop judging each other. But then we're going into this huge judgment that we didn't do that good enough. Like, no, the expansion of consciousness is no judgment. Is allowing things to happen, because it is the flow of energy, the flow of the universe. It's the flow of how everything goes in nature. You got to allow that to happen. You can't judge. Like, could we go out and judge, a spider for eating a fly? For catching it. Like right now, I've got a whole bunch of them out there with their webs up, and I see them like little fishermen. They've got their little webs up all over, And they get these places so that they'll fly right into it. So they're way up, and then the things fly into them. But so can we judge them? These are very predator. They're just out there waiting to kill what is weaker than them. So this is, there is no judgment in nature, like what people want to hold on to, like this idea of good and bad. Well, they're bad and I'm good. And so much of that, like that seems to be such a hard concept for people to break free from, that they need to have. And I'm do it too. Like, compare yourself to somebody else. Like, we all do that because we're trying to understand who and what we are. And it is a lot to understand, and you need some sort of walls or spectrum or parameters to try and see, like, well, do I go this far? Do I go that far? Who am I? And so all of this stuff is so you can learn about that. But you always have opportunity after opportunity, like the reincarnation cycle, the incarnating as a purpose, so that you're constantly expanding yourself. I don't even think that they would take like people who we consider to be super, super evil. I don't think they would even go into this little recycle thing that this guy's talking about, like the judge, because it's the father, son, and when you die, you go through, he's talking about you go like out of a straw out of your head, and then you go through that tunnel and you go out and you go instantly to the sun, and then the father, son comes out, and everybody, you go to the tree of life, you watch your life play out, everybody gathers around to judge you. Then God, the Son, comes in to give his ultimate judgment. And then he decides if you get to stay or you get to go. And if you go, you have to go into this box and be recycled into some other, because you're not good enough. No, that's not what I believe happens. But everybody's going to understand things on their own level, and then, he has to pass over, transition, die, and then he has to go and witness all that stuff to learn from that. And then it is also, you're associated now with passing on that information. So now when you see the truth, you have an understanding, and then you want to go back and fix it, and you can see how it's affected other people, because that is very much affects other people, And if you think you're going to be judged all the time, that even puts more pressure on you to be perfect, to be what maybe you aren't, so you're trying to be something you're not in order to appease the gods. That is where I'm like, there's just so much primitive thinking, it doesn't, they shouldn't, to me, shouldn't be in fear of the universe, of God, of all of it, and being thinking all the time like you could do something wrong and God's going to come down and get us all. And which, by the way, I was thinking we need to start, because you have all these people coming out, do these mass meditations. We all need to do these mass meditations. And yesterday it kept coming in my head about war dancing, rain dancing, and the tribes and how they would get together and everybody go out, they'd do a fire. They'd even put on their best clothes, their best outfits. They had certain outfits for certain, what is that word? Ceremonies. And they would go out and, do, if they're going to do a rain dance, like they had a certain ensemble for a rain dance or a war dance and certain makeup and stuff. And so they set their intention as a group, as a collective. They go out and set their intention, what they want, and then they go out and dance. Not just dance, but power dance, like pulling it in, this energy, and dancing this energy and putting it out there, emitting this energy. You set your intention as a collective, as a group. And I was like, that's what we all need to start doing. We don't have to go out in the streets and do it together. We all can start doing it in our homes. Start putting on some kind of, I think some drums, some kind of drums every time, I can get up and start, dancing to drums. But you start putting on drums and then start setting your attention. To me, freedom and sovereignty is something we can all be on the same page. And you start setting that intention and really dance it. Dance it like you are going around the fire with all of your tribe. And you guys are all there for the same thing. Vision. Use your internal vision to envision yourself. Put yourself there and pull that energy in. And I think if we all start doing that, and instead of trying to pull in and meditate and make our energy small, make it big. And, doing that yang gong or whatever and the tai chi and all that stuff, and really seeing how you can make your chi bigger, your energy bigger. You emit more energy. And that is what we need to do. Keep building our energy and emit more love and more unity and more community, and really put that energy out. And that is, I think that would make such a bigger difference than just, these big group meditations, because I know meditation makes difference. I mean, there's so many studies that show when we use our collective energy that we really do create something. And, and I don't know if this, like I had said the other day, maybe the Christians are creating a rapture for them to go. But now I'm hearing these spiritual people saying, like, it is those of us awake that are going to go. And it's like, I don't know. There's just a part of it is just like, God, I just want this to get over with, just see what is the truth. Who's leaving and who's going? Like, what is going on here? Are we going to, like he was, what was he saying? Something about, I swear to God, he was saying something about headaches heart attacks. That was somebody else, I think. There's so many videos talking about this stuff. But something about with the increase of heart attack or whatever. And this person was saying, well, I guess that's the plan. We're just all eventually going to die of a heart attack. They're going to kill us all with a heart attack. And, I don't know. I seriously, it is really hard to know. Because, like, I'm every day get attacked by Christians, where they'll tell me, like, oh, where do you think you're getting your information? Where do you think you know this or that? If you're not talking about the Bible, if you're not talking about Jesus, our Lord Savior, then you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay. Like, okay. I don't even know. Like, what? Like, I'm told this one person is like, well, my guides have been talking to me since I was a kid. It's my guidance. Where do you get your information? My guides, we all have them. Just start listening to your guides. Shut the book and listen to your guides. But people don't know. Even the Christians, like, all that stuff is coming from the devil. Oh, that's the devil trying to get in my thoughts. The devil. It's like, that you cutting yourself off from your own spirit, that's the problem, but I don't know. It is, I don't know. It's difficult. The whole thing is just difficult. Like, you do all this work. Like, this is kind of like how to me, you do all this work, and you're trying to help people and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they're just going to pull us off the planet and put us into the new earth, or none of that stuff makes sense to me. Like, I can hear everybody saying, I can't say for sure that I know any more than anybody else knows. I have no idea. We have to just wait and see what's going to happen. And it can very much be that a lot of people are creating their own reality of what's going to happen. But for sure, everybody, I think, is on the same page. that something is going to happen. I heard one person saying, all of us who think something's about to happen is because something is about to happen for us. There's about to be a big, like positive thing. Like we've all been working on ourselves and we've all been focused on positive, and we're bringing that in for ourselves. And that's going to be this big thing where other people are just busy trying to survive and focus, on their world. Then for those of us who've been healing, then this great thing's going to happen and we're all going to be doing so well. It's going to be so good. And, that's going to be, I don't know, helping people wake up or something. And I don't know, it could be like that's it. But there for sure is going to be a lot of people who are going to die. But it could be a lot of people who people have already kind of let go of, like all these people who are in the streets, who are drugged out, who've already given up, because there's a lot of people just in their own homes who want to just give up. They don't want to keep trying. And in one of these videos too, I saw where somebody was saying that everybody except for you is a side player or something. So when you're going around thinking, why don't they wake up? Why don't they wake up? They're not here to wake up. They're just here to be players in your game. And you're the player in the game. They're not real. And I was just like, but I just know a lot of people are real. Like, I know they're going through it too. They're struggling. They're trying to grow. They're trying to understand what's happening. And a lot of them aren't awake to the degree. Like everybody's a spectrum of how awake people are. And like I said, what I've noticed is people wake up, they just get stuck. The first thing that traumatizes them, the first thing that scares them, and they just go in and just keep focusing on that and focusing on that, which isn't helping them to heal. It's just got them to just focus externally on something that scares them. And another thing too, like this TikTok drama with this Alex Serves Tea. I'm pretty sure that's the name of her account. I've shared some of her shorts before. And, but I'm not like a follower where I go in and, hang on these people's every words. I'll see something and either I agree with it or I don't agree with it. If I agree with it, there for a while, I was sharing a lot of videos like, see, this person's saying this too. See, this person's saying this too. And so I stopped doing that once I got a community guideline because, I'm trying to be really careful. And so this, now, like I keep seeing these battles. And like I said, that I'll just see them. They'll just, as you go through TikTok, you just see somebody say something and then it's like, oh, and then somebody else says something. And so you see the battles going on, but I don't know all the players. I don't go in and, go through and look through all of this stuff to see. I have done it before, like the one with the Patriot one, when the battle. Because I was like, well, okay, well, this girl, I agree with a lot of stuff she says. And this girl, I agree with a lot of stuff she says. And then when they start battling it out, and then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Did I miss something? Like, what is going on here? Is this girl really not like saying what, so I'll kind of will be like, I'm not sure what's happening. I went in to look at a fight before, and it's still is really hard to understand. Like they're just truly having these battles out on these public battles with people, and it seems like sometimes people want to draw you into them. Like I've said, I've had a few people that just keep, come in and they'll keep saying, whatever, duets and stitches and stuff. The one guy, he kept trying to be really like, oh, I really like you. And then, nerdy white guy, it seemed like he just wanted to argue all the time. It's like, dude, I'm not going to go in and argue with you on these. Like, you think the sun's real? Go sit and sun gaze all day long. There's more than one sun. Maybe you got a real one. Lucky you. And so anyways, I don't know. But this one, so the one lady, she's older. I would say she's probably not my age. She's probably in her early 50s or late 40s or something. And she is spiritual, channeler, you know, she's like me. She's always like, well, they've been talking to me since I was a kid, and I've been on this spiritual path for like 20 years. I've been working on myself, and I understand spiritual stuff because like before, like right now, there's an influx. And it's like people don't even know where to look. And then some people, it's like everybody's just on the same thing. Like they can spout out Dolores Cannon, but then, they don't know who, like, Marcus DiStefano is. And he's a really good one on Gaia channel. And then you got these people out there who are every single person, every Gaia channel, every celebrity is not the right sex. They're all oh my gosh, these people. To me, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so paranoid. Like every day, this one girl just goes on and on about this stuff with the celebrities. And, they're all faking us out. They're all the opposite sex and all this stuff. It's just like, man, people get so freaking paranoid. And so this lady, she was saying, yesterday I was just going through the thing, and she goes, I need to talk about this other creator. This is really blowing up. And so then I was like, I wonder if she's about to talk about Alex, because that seems to be the one that seems to be really where there's a war going on. And especially when they say a large content creator, because that is something that a lot of these people kept noticing. She's up to 1.2 million. I think when I very first had gone on Twitter and seen her, I think she was probably, I don't know, between 700 and 900,000. So, she was already popular, I think, when I first saw her. But she definitely has been blowing up over the past, 6 months. Especially, maybe over the last couple months especially. And so this person was saying that their concerns is she's got a lot of young people who follow her, almost to the point where it's like a cult. And she said it's very concerning because this girl doesn't know anything about spirituality, and she's out there promoting herself like she does, and she has all these people who follow her and do whatever she says. And then you have these other content creators that try and tell her something, and she starts calling them colonizers and stuff. And I said that's what she was going on this video, losing her mind over these colonizers and saying they're racist against her and stuff like that. And so I was like, I'm not in her comments. I don't know what she's being told. But this other person was making like the people who are trying to talk to her from the spiritual community aren't trying to attack her. But then she's saying that there's whole accounts just based on attacking her. And I don't know if these people are just trying to give more information because she's giving so much misinformation that it's concerning them, especially because she's got such a huge following. But like I said, this is everything is playing out a certain way. And I don't know, is it going to be, she's going to have to face herself and see, this is all in her ego and her needing to have this huge following. And, it's a real thing to get all in your ego when all of a sudden everybody's hanging on your every word and wants to know every single thing and is going to you for answers. Then it is a big ego. So you can see why some souls would go in and say okay, let's do this. Can I break free from that? And I'm going to have all of this go on, and then everything is going to explode. And, I don't know in the aftermath, maybe she's going to go and just have a big commune and be a cult leader for millions of people, and they're all going to love her and worship her, and she's going to lead her people to the Holy Land. I have no idea, how it all's going to play out, but it's interesting to watch because it is exactly what I knew was going to happen. So it's interesting to watch, and that's why I talk about it, because I knew this was going to happen. And the people who, like her, the spiritual lady, she was saying, it's very concerning because she blocked her. She goes, I know I've been live with her before and people think that we're associated somehow, but I need to clarify, I am not associated with her. And just because I went live one time what there doesn't mean anything. And she said that she is, if she is trying to legitimize herself as a proper guru or something. And she said when she was talking to her and she was saying, well, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should do this, blah, blah, blah. And she said that Alex was like, no, you know, she was very callous. Like, and that's one thing that was really surprising because she doesn't come across that way in her videos, but she was very callous, didn't care. It was very much like, you know, her following, you know, just like a cult kind of leader or something. And she said, well, you know, what we have to do is, you know, something like a spiritual leader. And this lady was like, no, she said, you know, we're doing the same thing. And this lady was like, no, we're not doing the same thing. You know, and there's like for spiritual people who are really true spiritual leaders is empowerment back to the person. Nobody is trying to build a following or, you know, and look what happened to Jesus, like what they've done to that whole situation. So nobody's trying to, you know, get like, oh, I've got all the answers. You know, that's something that you'll run right into a wall. Like, but you can, the whole thing is you want to empower people to look for their own answers because everybody's got their own answers. None of us have all the answers for everybody else. We all have our own answers. Like all of us are as important as the next guy. Nobody's more important. And so this woman was saying that she now has got a shaman she's working with. And I did see that in one of her videos. She was saying something about a shaman. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. The shaman that I knew, when I went over to her house, I went over there she wanted to do a chakra class, and I didn't know that much about him. You know, even when I started doing yoga, like I didn't know all of this stuff. I just had started doing it. It's like your inside starts saying, oh, do this, oh, do that. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know how. Well, go learn. And so, you know, you start expanding yourself and doing yoga and stuff like that. And so when she did that chakra class, and I think it was right when quarantine had started or something, and I went over there, you know, and I was learning so much stuff, and you know, she would do ceremonies and stuff, and I was learning a lot of stuff. But you know, I don't know what this means. Like she's working with a shaman, so the shaman can make her legitimate as a spiritual guru or something. I'm not sure, but so I don't know. She's trying to. I have no idea. But again, you know, you really have to watch out who you follow. You don't just go in as a blind follower. That is one thing. All of those people who are just following like what are those? Not the Goombas. Maybe they were called Goombas. It just reminds me all the time on Popeye, when it would always be maybe they were called Goombas. They had the little tiny heads and the great big bodies, and they just walk around. Oh, I love Popeye. Oh, I love Popeye. Oh, I love Popeye. That's all they'd ever say. That's what you don't want to be, like that kind of following, you know. It's one thing to go in and learn from different people. So because that is what turns on your own, it's like opening your book. You go out and you start listening to other people, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, huh? I want to know more about that. And then, you know, you go in and you start looking it up, because your soul is the one who's leading you. Your soul's like, yeah, listen to that. And then here, go listen to this, go look at that, read this book. You know, they'll start telling you, you know, but a lot of people are just very focused on other things and not focused on that design of somebody's in there leading you. So they kind of cut it off. Oh yeah, I'll go get that book some other time. I'm not going to read that. Oh, I don't have time to do that. Oh, you know, yeah, I would maybe cook, but I'll just drive through Burger King. You know, I mean, I'm so bloody shocked over how many people are still eating McDonald's all the time. Like even when I was talking to this one spiritual girl all the time, which she hasn't been talking to me. I don't know. Whenever I figure, when you're going through this stuff, it's hard. It's hard stuff. And, sometimes you just have to really focus on you and heal. And you can't have other people's opinions interfering with how you are looking at things. And, but before, when I would be talking to her and, it would be weird because she would know some things, but she'd go to McDonald's every day and be like, do you know what you're eating? Like, if you're awake and you're aware, how? I can't even, God damn, the other day I heard what is in peanut butter. I was eating fucking peanut butter every goddamn day. And now that I've heard that, I can't even get any out and put it in a smoothie, on a cracker. It's just like, oh my God. And the same with my tea bags and stuff. It's just like, oh my gosh. I don't know how somebody who is awake and understands what they're eating is still, going and getting Skittles and opening a Pepsi and stopping at McDonald's or any of this stuff. It grosses me the fuck out now when I see this Beyond Burger commercials and stuff. The other day at the food bank, which today's a food bank, I am going to run up there. Oh, it's almost time. I'm going to run up there. But the other day, they even had some Morningstar meatless sausage, and I thought, oh, I've eaten this so much. I like it. I'm just not going to think about what's in it because it's probably got some crickets. Definitely has got some baby kidneys stuff. So, it's just like, oh, no telling what the pink goo, what all is in there. And then I cooked it. I couldn't fucking eat it. I couldn't eat it. As soon as I bit into it, it was very crunchy and stuff. There's everything I've been making, by the way. Even I made some refried beans the other day. I opened a can. They didn't even come out the right color. They come out like this bright red. Everything tastes weird. And I have seen over and over where people are showing they're doing something to the food. They're messing with the food right now. They're putting extra stuff in. There's people who are cutting open their vegetables and saying, these are plastic. This isn't real. And is that the same thing as we're all waking up to the sky's not real? It's all an illusion. Everything is an illusion. And everything is trying to show us it's an illusion. Everything is showing us what we need and what we don't need. But so many people are just so in fear of what's going to happen, which, I completely get it. When you've been told your whole entire life, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, and I mean, people legitimately think they have control over it. If they just do this, then they won't die. They think death just happens. Ooh, a car wreck can just come and kill me all of a sudden. Somebody can just jump out of the bushes and kill me all of a sudden. Somebody can sneeze in my face and kill me all of a sudden. It's like, no, nothing can hurt you until you're supposed to go. When you're supposed to go, anything can happen. You can drop dead right there. You can have an airplane fall out of the sky, which I was thinking that could be the trauma thing that would happen. Because there's something about it they do with this EMF thing, this big charge thing, which they can blame it on the sun. Anything they do, they're watching stuff that people don't really realize, but they do something with the frequency or something. Apparently, all the airplanes can just drop out of the sky. So, all of a sudden, is there going to be just airplanes dropping out of the sky and falling on houses? Do you have control over that? No. There's nothing that we have control over. Anything can go down. And we just have to remember, we're not really even here. We're not just alive, waiting to die. We are projections into an experience so that we can understand ourselves when we play a part. We're playing a part for everybody, so everybody gets an opportunity to see themselves, to understand themselves. And this time is just such an integral time in human history because it's such a time of expansion. It's an opportunity to pull yourself free from this controlled matrix society and to learn about yourself and to open yourself up to this whole spiritual realm and all of the releasing of all of the pain and suffering that you've experienced in life after life, as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, there's no telling what's going to happen. Something's still going to happen. I mean, vortex are certainly on my mind. Hopefully everything is safe. Like, who knows what they're going to do with this hurricane? I mean, it's hard to know because, are they trying to fight them and push their storm? Like, they create these storms and then get these weather systems all going chaotic, and then they're trying to move them into certain places. And then you have other people who are trying to move them out or something. So I don't know. Is it they're just going to keep hitting us with storms and distracting? I mean, I don't get how these deadlines come and go and come and go. But no matter what, the bank is, I mean, the pound went way down. Like, they're making all of this stuff about, the dollar and dropping and stuff. And then I've heard people who are scared. Well, see, they're doing it on purpose. They're going to pretend that the dollar just dropped and it was not, they didn't do it on purpose. And then they're going to put in their digital currency that you can't have any cash. But there is still, I can't even tell you how many people who think, I just saw a comment this morning, just hide your cash. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lordy, Lordy. How do you get people to understand? The only way to get them to understand is to learn the lessons the hard way. And that's what we've just got to see. A lot of people are going to learn lessons the hard way, but we got to look at it as like, this is good for them. This is expanding them. This is helping them grow. And we got to get out of this idea that everything is this traumatic stuff is trying to just kill us. Fuck, most people want out. So being killed isn't the worst thing, at this point. Leaving the stage is a lot, and a lot of people don't want to be on it. And I don't know if those people are just preparing themselves because they're leaving. There's just no telling. We just all have to just hang in there like that cat on the curtains, just hang in there. There will be a switchback. Things will go the other direction. Something big will happen. So we just got to see. Who knows what it's going to be. I mean, they're just hitting people. Like, there's so much more trauma going on in the Nanai. I don't know if I said that right. But, IRAN, so much stuff is going on there. And I know there's certain words that you just know, oh, they're going to block this, they're going to block that. Like, you can see that coming, what they talk about. But yeah, you got all these girls out in the street just whacking that off, burning their things. Oh, it just sounds like, oh my God, horrible when you see the videos. Just mourning and screaming and crying and the pain that they feel. Like, they have been so controlled for so long. This is a huge release, and you can see how much it has to happen. Like, they have all been so controlled. We've all been controlled in our own ways. We've all been not just physical experiments, but social experiments. And so, anyways, there's a huge release happening, and I don't know about the stuff in the sky. If the sky is breaking free, and I don't know. I just don't know. But I do want to get up there to the food bank. So anyways, I will talk to you later. Bye.